yeah, I'm excited because I love red, white, and blue. I love red, white, and blue projects. And I always have wanted to create a patriotic theme or patriotic style for a shadow box. So I'm going to show this to you kind of up close because I want you to see, and this is something that's a little hard to show on camera, but we've got all kinds of levels going on here. So it almost looks like our stars kind of floating. We have other stars around it. It's just really a beautiful piece, especially if you do take the opportunity to make one of your own. You're going to see all of that 3D awesomeness. It really is. It's fabulous. It's so awesome. So I'm going to show you what's going to be in the kit really quick while people are signing on. Hi, Tiffany. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Kimberly. Hi, Tiffany. Yes, good to see you guys out there watching. Hey, Deborah. Okay, so if you do choose to get a kit of your own, this is what it will look like. Let me hold it so it doesn't have a glare from the camera. This is what it will look like. It is a nice chunky wooden 8x8 shadow box. It does have a piece of white cardstock in it. This is not a packing material. This is something we will be using to create our 3D art. And let me just kind of slide some things out of here. Okay, so you'll have your piece of white cardstock, your chunky shadow box here. You're also going to have a shiplap wood star. You're going to have a couple of little blocks in here. These little blocks in here are going to help us with those depths, creating that 3D look. And some patriotic ribbon. And then we're going to be using this particular piece of napkin to create a pretty background in our shadow box. And then this napkin. You guys, this napkin was custom designed by me specifically for this project, so you're going to see it doesn't look like a traditional napkin, right? Because I designed this for us with this craft in mind, right? With this project in mind. So you're actually going to get two halves, so you'll have a lot to work with. Okay, you're going to have a lot to work with. Yes, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be such a fabulous project. Now, there are a few other supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need some paint. I used red, white, and blue. Okay, red, white, and blue paint. I'll share the specific colors as I get to painting, but red, white, and blue. Okay, I am using Mod Podge matte. And stickles. We have to have a little sparkle on a patriotic project. I am also going to do just a little bit of pin work, so I like to use my Pitt pins for that, and I'll show you that within our workshop today. Also having some foam tape. This is double-sided foam tape that I'm using, and that's going to help us to, again, build up kind of some of these layers and things. You like my t-shirt? I like it too. It's my brand new t-shirt from Cotton Chaos. I'm in their t-shirt club. Isn't it cute? The floral United States and the bow. I know. I was just so excited. I actually got it yesterday and I was like, oh, I can wear it for my workshop today. Yay. You know me. I love a cute t-shirt. I love t-shirts. I live in them. All right. The other thing I will be using as far as tools go is I'm going to be using my craft iron today. I'm going to use my craft iron to do the iron-on method for napkinizing paper, so that that's what the cardstock's in here for, so that we can create these special embellishments to go in our patriotic shadow box. I'll use my hot glue. I'll use my heat tool just to speed up the paint process, drying process, things like that. When it comes to napkinizing, I'll use some plastic sheets. These are deli bakery sheets. Love to use those. And I'm using some parchment paper today as well. Okay, so I think I covered it. I think. I think that covered all the things. So let's, I'm ready to jump in. Are you guys ready? Yes, are you ready? Okay, let me know in the comments. Say, I'm ready for this free workshop. Just say, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. All right, I'm going to move a few things out of the way here because I did a little bit of pre-painting ahead of time. So let me show you what I've done, because I have a paint technique I want to show you. I have some fun paint techniques to show you today. Isn't it gorgeous? This is what I'm going to be making right here. This is my Patriotic Shadowbox. Okay, I see lots of people are ready. Awesome. I did a little bit of pre-painting. I did take one of the shadow boxes. The first color that's going to get painted on the shadow box is it's going to be solid white. Okay, solid white. I use Simplicity for this. I really love to use chalk and mineral based paints on like everything that I make. So I use this color is called Simplicity. It's just a pure white. Okay, just a pure white. And the entire shadow box gets painted white to start. Okay, the whole entire thing, okay, gets painted white to start. Now, as far as our star goes, okay, our star here, I'm going to go ahead and paint it next. The star is actually going to be painted red, okay? It doesn't look red in here, but again, you can kind of see we're going to do a fun paint technique on it. So if you want to use red, the two reds that we carry that I think would be best for this project could be Paint the Town. It's a more kind of like a barn red, but I also like Poppy. I think Poppy is a great red as well. And you may have a red that you want to use in your stash. Okay, so I think you could go with either one of these reds. And let's see, I'm going to use a smaller brush for this because we don't need too much of this color. So our base coat for the star is going to be red. So I'm just going to kind of go across. You don't have to worry about the sides too much. I really didn't. Most of the time what I do with the sides, these are laser cut. So, whoops, let me grab some more paint here. These are laser cut. So most of the time I just kind of just take my brush along the edges, almost like a dry brush. So again, to start, the entire shadow box gets painted white. Every inch of it, okay? Back, front, sides, insides, everywhere gets painted white. And the star is going to get painted red. I'll try to get the messy stuff done first. So the base coat for the star will be red. Now what I was saying is most of the time I just kind of clean my brush on the sides. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to be putting another color on top of this anyway. So I'm just going to kind of clean my brush up on the sides. It can look kind of distressed. Nothing fancy. Okay. All right. And that's it for the red. Okay. It's going to look great. I think you're going to like this paint technique. Margarita's ready. Yes. Hi, Lori. Happy Friday. Hi, Christine. Hello, Tamara. Good to see you guys watching. Okay. So let me clean up my hands right quick. I am the messiest painter. Are you guys messy painters? I am. I just feel like if you don't get paint on your hands, you're just doing something wrong. That's my philosophy. I don't know why. I just am. I'm just a messy painter. All right. So I'm going to clean up some of this red paint off my hands. And then I'm going to use my heat tool to, whoops. I'm going to use my heat tool to dry this. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my craft iron on as well, my iron. So this doesn't have to be a great coat. It can be kind of messy. It's okay. We're going to dry this coat of paint. And then I'm going to, gosh, you could do this with what I'm about to do. You could do with a toothpick. You could use maybe a pointy end of a paintbrush, a paper piercer, really just anything. I'm going to clean out the valleys. Okay, I'm going to clean out the valleys. So I have this paintbrush that has this little pointy tip right here. So I'm just going to take this and go through these valleys. I love the shiplap look. So I'm just trying to kind of clear out some of that paint in there. We'll do it again too, but it's just kind of digging out some of that paint. You'll notice it more later when we do it next. Okay. You almost wore this t-shirt today, Westa. Well, go put it on and we can be t-shirt twins. I know, right? It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to let this sit for a minute. I want it to just kind of sit. I don't want to put, we're going to put white paint on top of it, but I don't want to do it too soon. Otherwise, things will start to look kind of pink. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit, just let it sit and kind of dry up a little bit more on its own. And I'm going to bring back the white painted shadow box. Okay, I'm going to flip over my piece of parchment paper here. So this is the white shadow box. It comes like this though, right? It's natural wood. So I did this right before we started, but right before we went live, I just painted the whole thing white. Okay, just to save a little bit of time so you guys don't have to sit here watching me paint too much. Okay, so the next color I'm going to be putting on this is going to be a blue. And the color I'm using, you can see this color right here. It's really pretty. It is called Starstruck. It's kind of like a brighter navy, I guess, like a bright navy. I think you could use whatever color you really want for this. Some people may want to go with a lighter blue. Maybe you want to do the outside of your shadow box red. Maybe you want to do it just the opposite of me. You could go with red, or you could keep it all white, whatever you want to do. But we do need 2 paint colors for this kind of distress technique I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is the color I'm going to be using. I'm using Starstruck. I know that we got wiped out. Our paint got wiped out earlier this week when we released the shadow box. But we have more coming. Okay, so we have more coming. If you want this color and you can't get it today, we have more coming. Okay, but yeah, there's other colors you could use. I think Tide Pool would be a pretty one. I think Peacoat, Bling Bling is a more royal blue. It's a pretty one too. So whatever blue you want to use, or it could be red. Okay, it could be red if you want it to be. All right, so I'm going to dip into my paint now, and I'm going to start off with the sides here. Okay, I'm going to start off with the sides, and I'm just going to paint 1 coat over the top. Again, it does not have to be a perfect coat because we are going to distress this. All right, I'm going to show you a couple different distress methods. So I'm going to come around and paint the sides first. I did paint the back as well. I don't know that I'll paint the back on this one today just to save time, but I did paint the back on my sample one. All right, so just a quick coat of blue over the top of the white. And some of you may be thinking, well, why did we paint it white? Well, you're going to see. You're going to see. Plus, white really helps as a primer sometimes with natural wood. All right, I got all 4 sides. So now I'm going to just drop it. I'm just going to drop it, lay it down. And I'm going to start painting on the top. Thank you guys for watching today. I know I have some people watching over on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and some of you watching here on my Facebook channel. I would love for you guys, if you are watching on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe to my page there. I'm trying to do more and more and more on YouTube these days. So yeah, if you're intrigued or you like my teaching style, I love to do all kinds of things, and we're starting to push a lot of things over to my YouTube channel. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this up. Okay, I'm going to stand this up. Well, I can't really stand it up yet. I can't really stand it up yet. I forgot. let's draw the sides. Let's draw the sides, or at least one side real quick here. So if you're watching on Facebook, I would love for you to sprinkle this video out to your crafty friends and family. That would be awesome. This is a free workshop. I'd love for everybody out there, as many people that can or want to watch it, to be able to. All right, so I'm really just trying to get the sides dry enough that I can turn it on its side, because I'm going to be painting this inside wall. Okay, this inside wall. It's not a have to, and if you're worried about that, you know, you could. I paint quite a bit, so I'm not going to tape mine off. We are going to keep this background white. Okay, but the side walls, I'm going to paint the blue. And if you're concerned about that, about getting a nice straight edge, you can tape that off with like painter's tape, or even washi tape will work. Hi, Ruth. I'm so glad you like it. Hi, Deborah. You like the royal blue, that bling bling color? It's really pretty too. Yeah. This color is called Starstruck. All right, I think we're dry enough. Okay, so I'm gonna just lift this up, and I want you to look. Do you see this is not a great coat of paint? It's just one quick, fast coat. It's okay if it looks streaky like this, trust me, okay? Because we're just gonna add to that. Okay, we're gonna add to that. So now that I kind of have it up on its side here, and I'll be switching when we're doing something other than painting, I will be switching my screen so that you can see my hands really well. So I'm gonna start by just getting some paint kind of right here before I get too close to that bottom edge. Can you see that? And like I said, I rarely ever tape off. I'm just going to take my brush and just go right along the edge. It's okay with me if it's not exactly perfect, but that's pretty good. That worked out pretty good. I'm using a nice brush that has a straight edge on it. That helps. Okay, that helps. So I'm going to do this to every side here, but leaving the background white. Feel free to use tape. So I had to load up quite a bit on my brush, and then just quickly go right down the edge. Okay. All right, 2 more sides to go. Okay, so again, I'm going to load up quite a bit of paint on my brush and just here. All right, I got a little extra right there, but that's okay. There'll be napkin art going on in the background of our shadow box. So if you get a little bit up on the edge, just don't worry. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. All right. So you can see I'm not perfect. I didn't get it. It's not perfect in there. But again, I know what's coming next, right? I know what's coming next. We're going to put something in there here shortly. So now that we have our blue on, I'm going to set this aside and let it dry a little bit, also a little bit on its own. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up, and I think I'll just lay it right down here. Just try not to stand up on top of it. I'll try not to step on it. Okay, so I'm going to bring back our white star. All right, I'm bringing back our red star. We painted it red, okay? And as I mentioned, I think Paint the Town, Poppy would be good for this. There's even a brighter red called Devotion. I think a red, right? A red. Now we're going to be painting over this one with white, okay? We're going to be painting over this one with white. So this is Simplicity. And again, we're just going to quickly get a coat on. Don't put it on too thin because I don't want our star looking pink. Okay, I don't really want the star looking pink. In fact, we might even do, I'm putting it on fairly thick. I think it'll be okay. But if it starts looking pink to you, you can always let it dry for a second and then put on another coat of white. So I'm just going to add a little extra white on here. And then same kind of thing. I'm going to go in and just clean my brush on the sides. A lot of times you'll wind up with some kind of drippage. Let's see the best way to hold this. There we go. Cover up my fingerprints. Okay. All right, that looks good. Actually, I see a little streak right here. I think I'm gonna, a little bit more paint right there. Okay. That looks good. Just gonna dry over the top of it just a little bit, and then I'm gonna clean out those valleys, okay? And again, that could be something as simple as a toothpick. Just something to come in and clean out those valleys. Look at that. Love it. We want to see that red. See that red showing through? That's what we want. All right, that's what we want. Okay. I'm going to grab a baby white to, that's all the painting we're doing. Oh, no. There's one more thing. Almost forgot. There's one more thing we're going to paint. Remember the blocks I was telling you about, the blocks that come in the kit? You do not need to paint this one. However, this one may show just a little bit, okay? So the square cube, not the rectangular cube, but the square cube here, I am going to paint that. And the whole thing doesn't even really need to be painted. It's really just, but I don't know which way I'm going to stick it in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint every side but one, okay? That one will be the one on the bottom. So I'm going to paint all sides except one, and I'm just doing it in the blue. I would say to do the blue or the red, either one. I think the blue blends it in more, so your eye doesn't really see it as much, okay? So I almost forgot about that. That's the square cube in the kit, not the rectangular one, okay? Okay. Now we're done painting. So I'm going to clean up my hands here. I'm going to wrap my brushes up in this baby wipe. That's what I do when I'm not going to wash them right away. I don't have water here in the studio. I'd have to go all the way to the kitchen. So I'm just going to take these and literally just wrap them up in my baby wipe. That'll keep them moist until I have time to go in and wash them. Okay. All right. So we'll sit those over here. Make sure my hands are fairly clean, that I don't get paint on my napkins, okay? That's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so now I'm going to move these and let these dry, okay? So I'm going to move these down here also and let those dry. So The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on our piece of cardstock, our white cardstock. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a distressing technique, but I'm doing what we call staging, right? When you're crafting, there's things you can be doing while other things are drying or other things are setting up, right? So thank you, Patricia. Hi, Diane. The white marker that I use with paper designs, I really love the white Uniball Signo pen. If you want a fine line, I like the white Uniball Signo pen. Or if I want something thicker, I usually use a paint pen, like a paint marker. Yeah. Okay. So this is another sheet of parchment paper. And this is the 8.5 by 11 cardstock that will be in your kit. Okay. Now for this, we're going to be doing what I call the iron-on method. It's perfect when you want to create your own embellishments from napkins, okay? It's perfect. This is the method that I love to do for any paper crafting that I'm doing with napkins, still using my Mod Podge mat. So if you're a card maker, if you're a scrapbooker, if you would love to do junk journaling, faith journaling, you know, any of those kinds of things, it's great. It's great for making your own decorative paper, right? So all I'm doing to this piece of cardstock is just painting it with Mod Podge. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of paint this whole thing. We're not going to use the whole sheet of paper, but whatever you don't use, you can use later with some of your scraps, your scrap pieces of napkin from your kit. So this also doesn't have to be pretty, but it does have to be thorough. So what does that mean? That just means you want to make sure that you've not skipped any spots. Okay, so I usually kind of look at it in the light. The paper will curl. That's just what paper does when it gets wet. All right, I think I've got everything. I just kind of look at it in the light just to make sure I don't have any missing spots. And then you can dry it with your heat tool. But I was smart this morning and I painted a sheet of cardstock ahead of time. So this literally just has to be dry. You can use your heat tool, use a blow dryer, whatever you have, or just set it to the side and let it dry. It actually will dry pretty quickly. Okay. So once it is dry, it will look something like this. Okay, it's going to be kind of warped, right? Because that's what paper does when it gets wet, but don't worry, it's going to all flatten back out when we iron over it. We're going to do the iron-on method. So I'm going to clean up, let me clean up just a little bit of this Mod Podge on here. Actually, I may, yeah, I think it'll be fine. All right, I'm going to flip it over. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll flip it over. So for this next step, I'm gonna make my screen larger. So give me just a second to do that. There we go. Just want to make sure that you can see exactly what I'm doing here. So this is my white cardstock from the kit. It has already been painted on with Mod Podge matte, and it's now completely dry. Okay, it's completely dry. I have my iron over here. I love my little Aliso iron. I use this one only for crafting. I never put water in it. So no water, no steam. And I have it on its highest, hottest setting. Okay, highest, hottest setting. And we're going to grab one of our napkins now. All right, so we're going to grab the custom one. This is the custom napkin, and I'm only going to do one of these on paper. There's no point in going in and cutting and all the things. We're just going to use one of these. So I'll show you're going to have a lot of extra here, and that's great because then you can use this at any time. So like if you're a card maker, that's what I do with a lot of my scrap pieces of napkin is I will just paint up a bunch of these sheets of white cardstock with Mod Podge, let it dry. I cut them down to the size that I want for card fronts or tags. And then after they're dry, I just stack them up. So they're just right ready to go when I'm ready to use them. So we're only going to need this one square. We're going to keep this square. We are going to use some things from this square, but these we will not be putting paper behind. Okay. And you will have extras. And I am going to separate the plies of my napkin here. Now, most of the time I use I call it the lick and stick method, but I'm going to show you this method. I'm just going to put a little bit, that's actually too much. I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge on the tip of my finger and just kind of tap it back and forth. And what happens is it will stick and it will help to get the plies off. Now this one actually came off. Both plies came off at the same time, but I'm going to do this because I just want you to see there are 3 plies. So you're going to take off 1 ply and the second ply. Sometimes you get lucky, they come off at the same time, but we just want the top tissue. Okay, just the top tissue, nothing else. All right, I'm going to stick mine right here in this corner, right here. I'm going to take another sheet of cardstock. I'm sorry, not cardstock, another sheet of parchment paper. And I'm going to put it right on top of this part because remember, I'm going to keep this scrap because I'm probably going to make something with my leftover pieces of napkin with that. And that's what I hope you do with it. And then I just start ironing. So my iron setting is on its hottest setting, which is usually cotton. So it's high all the way up, hot, no water. Okay, no steam, no water in my iron. That's generally true for any crafting you do with your iron. So I just never put water in this one. And what's happening is as we're ironing over this, it's reactivating the Mod Podge. I'm also using some pressure as I do this, okay? Because what's happening is the pressure is going to kind of meld the napkin tissue into the paper. So it really truly becomes like a customized paper, okay? Becomes part of the paper. And it's nice. The iron presses everything back out, nice and flat. I love it. So I only went over this portion. So now I'm just going to cut this portion out. And I'm probably just going to cut through this. So now I have all of this ready to go whenever I want to make some other embellishments, or maybe I want to make a cute little card. Maybe you want to give this as a gift. Maybe you have somebody in your life that was that's currently in the service or was in the service. You want to give them something patriotic in honor of their service. Maybe you make a cute little card or something out of some of your leftover scraps to go along with your project. So this is what this is going to look like now. It's nice and smooth, but it's still very warm. All right. It's very, very warm. So I do, because we may be doing, well, I say may, I will be doing a little bit of pen work on top of these napkins. Let me put myself back on the screen for a second. So if I'm going to add pen work on the napkins, and I'm just saying this, I know a lot of you follow me, so you already know this, but there could be some newbies out there. Napkins, their purpose in life is to absorb. Okay. So if I go and try to outline this star or doodle outline around some of these flowers, and I haven't sealed the napkin tries to absorb the ink and it gets very fuzzy. Okay. It gets very fuzzy. So I do want to put a thin top coat of Mod Podge on top of this. However, I don't want to do it until it feels cool. Okay. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to save you from having any kind of issues with the napkin trying to bubble or anything like that. Once it's cool, we know it is set. Okay. Once it's cool to the touch, we know it's completely set. Okay. It is getting there. It's still just a little bit warm, just a little bit, but it's not going to take but just another second. Okay. And it'll be cool to the touch. Once it's cool to the touch, and mine is just about there. Once it's cool to the touch, all right, that feels good. I'm going to take my, again, with my Mod Podge, and I'm just going to do just a thin, quick coat. And because we haven't cut anything yet, I'm just going to go ahead and just coat over the whole thing. Even though I don't know, I may not do pin work on all of this, it's also protecting it, right? It is a napkin. Sometimes we forget that, but it is truly just a tissue that's had artwork printed on it. So it's important. I'm just going to just quickly coat this, but don't do it until it's cool. All right. That will save you some troubles. Okay. Now we have that. So let's dry it. Yep, just going to dry it. I'm just looking at some of your comments here. Can you wait a while to use the extra Mod Podge paper? Absolutely, Ada. Yes, and that's what I do. I'll just do up a bunch at one time, let them sit overnight and dry, and then I just cut them to whatever size I want them to be, and I just stack them up. And that way I can just grab them whenever I want to use them. Yes, just don't stack them if they're not dry. You get a whole another issue. But yeah, you can do them up in advance. That's what I do. That way they're all just ready to go. If I'm making cards or tags, I just love using them for my leftover napkins. I would much rather do that than save these little pieces of napkins. So when I'm kind of done decorating, we have something called the Napkin Club. So I send out a variety napkin bundle to all of our members every month for us to craft with. The majority of them are usually custom designed by me for our projects and things we're going to do with them. But at the end of those bundles, when I just have kind of random pieces left, I would much rather turn those into something than just hang on to those little bits and pieces. So that's what I do. I'll make up some tags, card fronts, just different things that I can use as embellishments. So that's generally what I do with my scraps. Okay. All right. So this feels nice and dry. So I'm going to put this to the side. We're going to go back to our painted pieces really quickly. Okay. All right, let's go back to this one. So before we add any napkin art in this, we're going to do kind of a fun technique. Okay, we're going to do a little fun technique here to distress these. It's a painting method that I really love to do. And there's a couple ways that we can do this. So if you have a foam block, do y'all have this? You might have it there. You might have one in your garage and not even know it. It's just like a sanding block, but it's foam. See, it's just squishy. I have one like this too. I love these. I use these quite a bit. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to start just kind of right here. Everything's nice and dry now. Let me raise up my camera here a little bit so you can see a little better. I'm on top of this parchment paper because this part, what we're about to do, gets dusty. Okay, it gets dusty. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to start sanding over the top. Okay, do you see how it just kind of buffs the paint, but it's also where you see any wood grain, any edges. We get this really nice kind of worn look. Almost denim-y, right? Almost kind of denim-y. Denim-y, is that a word? Denim-like. But there's another thing we can do too, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. So I'm just kind of going over these. I'm also going to do it on these. We'll clean up all the dust before we napkinize the back. But I really like using these foam blocks for this. I really like using them. I'm even going to do a little bit on the insides. And I'm not breaking a sweat doing this. That's one reason I love using the chalk and mineral based paints, because they distress so easy. They will harden, which is called curing. The paint will harden over the next 48 hours, like gets super hard. That's why I like using it, because I'm kind of a junker, a thrifter. I like to repurpose old things, and it eliminates me having to do a lot of prep to those things before I paint them, because it has such strong adhesion. Okay. Now, the other thing that we can do to our piece, look, isn't that great? Doesn't that look awesome? Is what I call the wet method. Okay. Wet distress. Wet distress is easy because you just use a baby wipe. Okay. So if you have trouble with your hands, or, you just, sanding's not your thing, you don't want to deal with the dust, those kinds of things, because this chalk and mineral paint has not cured yet, I can actually come in and kind of wipe some away. So if I come in, I can even go along like all these hard edges and literally it just kind of takes off that top layer of paint. That's why we have the white underneath it. Okay. And I mean, I can do this to the point that I can see. Do you see what I just did there? So if there's anywhere that you want to have a little more distress, just take that baby wipe. You're taking off that top layer of paint. And then we get these kind of striations, I guess, or think about worn out blue jeans, right? Like a worn out blue jeans, same kind of thing. So you can take it around the edge. So if it's easier for you to do this wet distress, I kind of like doing both, right? I kind of like doing both, but it's just an easy way to get kind of just a charming kind of worn look. Let's do a little bit right in here. And then what happens if you take off too much? Yeah, if you take off more than you really want to, okay, then you just put more paint back on it. So to me, I like this method for that reason. Like, I can't really mess this method up. If I don't like what I've done, I just add some more paint back on. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing? Just kind of taking some off here and there. Doesn't have to be everywhere. Okay, doesn't have to be everywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing kind of on the top here. This is also cleaning off our dust, by the way. And then, like I said, anywhere you want to see a little more of that white showing through, then that's where we're going to wash away. It's called the wet method with the baby wipe. We're just going to kind of wash away in areas some of that blue paint. Okay. Do the same thing inside. And eventually your baby wipe is going to start looking really blue. I just keep kind of turning it to a clean section. Anybody out there done this method before? I do need my own dictionary. I definitely do. I do make up a lot of words. Yes. Isn't that great? I just love the look. I really love the look. And it's an easy look. It's an easy, it's just super easy really for anybody to do. Okay. Super easy for anybody to do. And I'm going to shake off all that dust over my trash can. And now I'm going to bring up my star. Okay. Yes. All right. This you don't have to do anything to. Don't worry about it. And it's okay if one side is not painted. All right. So we don't have to do anything to that. But I do want to see some of the red. I do want to see some of the red showing through on this star. So I'm going to go back to my foam brush. Now I've got some blue on this side. So I'm going to use this side. And usually what I do is just, it's kind of like, I don't ever wash these, but I'll get like a dry paper towel and just kind of rub any of that dust off of them. So I don't get different color paint dust on different projects. Okay. So I'm just flipping this over. And the first thing I'm going to do is just sand. Okay. And I'm going to turn it different ways. You can kind of go back and forth. So just a quick sanding. Now I'm going to get a fresh baby wipe. Okay, so I have my fresh baby wipe here. And I'm going to start kind of washing away, but mainly on the edges, because we're going to do some napkin art in the center of this star. And be careful we're not scrubbing baseboards, okay? So be gentle, because we don't want to take the red off as well. We're trying to just take off some of the white. I'll hold this up for you in just a second. I have to have it flat on the table when I do this, because I'm really just trying to go around the edges some. I really love this technique. Kind of keeps me from over sanding when I just want to see a hint of the color coming through. All right, so do you see? Doesn't that look good? Yes, I love it. So we just kind of want to see a hint of this red coming through. I want this part to stay fairly white. We already see the red coming through the little shiplap valleys. That is what I'm wanting to see. Okay. Just kind of wipe off any dust, but that's what I'm going for right there. Okay. Do you like it? Do you like the wet technique? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. I really enjoy this technique. I really, really do. Okay, so let me do a quick little cleanup here, and then we're going to get to making this, getting down to our napkin art process. You ready? It is. It's so easy. It's so easy. So whether you want to sand, which is a dry distress, or you want to use baby wipes, which is a wet distress. Okay, works great. Okay. So let's work now on the background. We're going to work on the background right here of our shadow box. And this is what I'm going to be using for the background. So you're going to have this long piece of napkin. Okay. And before you take the plies off, I want you to do this. Okay. So just kind of watch the screen there. We're going to lay this into this is the top. You can decide whichever part of the shadow box you want to be the top. And I'm laying it in to where it's right along the edge. And then I usually just take my thumbnail, my fingernail. I could take the, something pointy, the end of this paintbrush, right? I'm just going to kind of score myself a little line. Do you see how it just made that little pressure line right there? And then I'm going to just cut right along that line. I can usually see it better if I turn the napkin over. So now I've got this section. I'll just lay it in there for right now. Now at the bottom, I just want to add the stripes. Okay, I just want to add the stripes, but I'm still going to do the same thing here. Oops, wrong paintbrush. Again, you could use your thumbnail, toothpick, something. There's my line. And I'm going to cut along this, but then I'm going to cut it down even a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to cut off these stars. Am I going to throw them away? No. No, no, no. Don't throw them away, because again, remember we have all that extra paper that we Mod Podged, right? So now I'm going to stick this in here, and I'm just going to fold this so that I know where my stripes are going to kind of meet the stars. Okay. There we go. And feel free, use this napkin in any way that you want. If you want to do your background different than mine, absolutely. Go right ahead. I love it when people customize their pieces to make them their own. Okay. So I've got a lot here. I've got these cute blue stars. I've got some stripes. This will be really cute for making a coordinating tag or card or whatever else I want to make. Okay. So we'll definitely do that. All right. So now I have these two pieces. Okay. I'm going to separate this piece. Now, this time I'll show you what I really do. Most of the time, I don't put Mod Podge on my finger because I don't know. I've gotten in the habit of doing this. I call it the lick and stick method. I just tap my finger and my tongue, my finger and my thumb on my tongue, and then just pull the pieces apart. It's my own DNA, so it's okay. I know it grosses some people out, but anyway. All right, so again, 3 layers. And this, there we go. If you ever have trouble getting your layers apart, sometimes you can even use a little piece of tape or washi tape. But most of the time, the Mod Podge or my lick and stick works great. Okay. Good morning, Stephanie. Well, good. I'm glad you got to be here today. Okay, so I know this is going to be my top, which is fine with me. I'm going to come over here and grab my Mod Podge again, and I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen again so you guys can see really well what I'm doing here. So let's bring the camera down. All right, so I'm just going to dip into my Mod Podge here, and I'm going to start with this small stripe piece that's going to be at the bottom. So I may need to pour some more Mod Podge into my cup here. Let me do that real fast. You like the lick and stick version? Yeah, me too, Jill. It works great for me. I know it may not work for everybody, but it works great for me. And when you find something that works, you stick with it. All right, so I have that bottom portion now. So I'm just going to lay my stripes just right down in here. Now you can tap this a little bit with your fingers, and usually what I do, you guys, is I like to use a chip brush for this, simply because a chip brush looks like this, just as those natural bristles, simply because it gets in the corners where sometimes it can be hard for your fingers to get. Okay, so we can just do that, and it just helps to get down kind of in those deep corners right there. And now I'm just going to put Mod Podge everywhere else. If it does get a little bit on your blue, don't worry about it. I actually put Mod Podge over my whole entire piece. I wanted it to have a little bit of a sheen to it. Even though this is matte Mod Podge, it gives you kind of a satiny sheen. So if you do get it on the sides, don't worry, because I'm going to advise you to cover the whole thing up anyway. Just give it a light top coat. I'm also going to do just a tiny little bit on this edge of these red and white stripes because it may overlap just a little bit. So now then, oh, looky there. I cut them too short. Okay. How did I do that? Did I use the wrong piece? Who knows? Okay, if I cut it too short, or you cut it too short, then I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to keep that stripe right there. I'm going to keep that little white stripe right there. Yeah, sometimes things happen to all of us. But do you see how my stripes are somewhat lined up? Yeah, I like that. I like it looking like they're lined up. there's going to be so much going on in this shadow box. This little white line right here is not going to matter at all. If it does really bother you, you could always cut another little strip, another little piece, but it really does not bother me at all. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to dry this. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and quickly put a coat of Mod Podge. It is going to look milky, but it's going to dry nice and clear. I'm going to go ahead and just put a quick coat of this in the sides here, in the inside portions. That way that can be drying. There we go, because I can do the outer one anytime since we're going to be building inside. And now go ahead and dry the napkin part. So I like to dry it, and then we're going to put just a thin top coat on it. Okay. Here we go. I can kind of show you the difference. So you can see this has been Mod Podge. See how it kind of has a pretty sheen to it? And this has not. It's more flat. So I really kind of like it having that sheen to it. And just another way to kind of to seal it and just make it all look the same instead of seeing like starts and stops. Okay, so now I'm just going to do, again, just a really quick thin coat over my napkin. I'm not doing any pen work on the background, but I am going to be gluing to it. I'm going to be doing things to it, so I feel like it should be sealed. And it just takes a nice thin coat. It'll be kind of milky, but it will dry clear. Okay, we are good to go. All right, I'm going to move on to our star. So remember the piece of the napkin that we did not use yet. Okay, this is the piece of the napkin that's not on paper. We put one square on paper with the iron-on method, and this one is just the extra. Okay, so when I was making mine, you have some options here. When I was making my my project, I used this Land of the Free and this portion of Home of the Brave. I'll show it to you here. Okay, so everything on the star right here has been is just regular napkin, and then I chose to use that. Now you can make whatever choices you want, but I'm going to go ahead now and come in and cut into my napkin for this Land of the Free. And I'm going to cut it down some of this paper. I don't like having a lot of excess paper. And if I'm going to fussy cut around anything, I like to do it while it still has its plies. It's sturdier. I don't have the risk of it tearing or anything like that. Okay. So again, my lick and stick method here. I'm going to take the plies off. I just want you to see there's two. Okay. There's two there. And this is going to go in my star. So I'm going to put it where it's just kind of right in the center. Of and the are going to cross over that little Shiplap Valley line there just a little bit. And then on this one, I'm going to use my plastic wrap sheet, my little plastic wrap sheet here. This is deli bakery sheets that I get on Amazon. I love them. They don't stick to each other like some plastic wraps do. I'm going to take my fingernail and go down the valley here just to make sure everything I want to keep that shiplap look, so I'm just going to get the napkin down in the valley and press over all of that. Cute, cute, cute. And I'm going to add a couple other stars. So I'm going to add this blue star right here. So again, going to cut away some of the excess paper. You don't have to cut it right directly onto the star, because the white of the napkin just kind of disappears. Separate it. And I think I'm going to put this right here. Again, everybody's can be different. So I'm going to put a big blue star right there. And again, with that shiplap valley. My top got a little crooked, but I can fix that with pen work. And then this little teeny tiny red star, I think I'll use it too. But again, you're going to have plenty of extra to play with. So you guys can choose to use whatever you want. Put this one at the top. Get a corner here. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, now I'm going to dry what I put on, and then I'm going to do a top coat over this whole star. So that's all I'm going to add to the star, because we're going to have other things overlapping. So again, just going to protect that napkin art, seal it. We're going to do some stickles and some pen work, fun things. But I don't want to see any stops and starts, so I'm just going to go ahead and Mod Podge over the whole star. Okay. Isn't that cute? Isn't it pretty? Yes, I love it. All right, so like I said, you're going to have plenty of extra to play with. I'm going to come back now to my paper. All right, this is the napkin we did the iron-on method with for our paper. I have found that sometimes it's so much easier to come in and do your pen work before you start cutting everything apart. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring the camera down. I'm using a Pitt pen for this. I love Pitt pens. They're by Faber-Castell. And I'm using a small, by the way. This is the small nib. I love them because they're made with India ink, and so my napkin is sealed, so I can come in. I'm just going to do some fun little kind of like doodled outlines. I'm not trying to keep everything perfect. This process of outlining really is meant to look kind of artsy, kind of doodly, and that is never perfect, right? Doodled things, kind of fun, kind of whimsical. So I'm just going to go around on some of these stars. I'm also going to do some of the flowers. But I love these because when the ink is dry, it's steadfast. What that means basically is it won't react with moisture, water. It won't react with anything wet again. So that way, if I do stickle over these, I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry. I'm going to do some lines on this star too, along the stripes. Just fun little doodly accents. And again, personal preference. You like it, you do it. If you're not crazy about it, then you don't have to do it. I just kind of like the whimsical kind of look to it. Let's see this star. Just helps things to pop sometimes, especially with the flowers, which I'll show you here in just a second. Did I get all the stars? One more. You could be doing this with a metallic pen, gel pen, something like that if you wanted to. So if you look down here at the flowers, okay, I'm going to go just kind of quickly around these petals. And I like it when, especially with flowers, when we're kind of wiggly. To me, it just looks more organic, not so perfect. We don't want anything. Sometimes perfection can really rob us of a lot of joy. I'm going to do some squiggles around the middle. Let's come over here. And it honestly, sometimes it's those little unique kind of handmade touches that really give our pieces a lot of charm, a lot of character. Just squiggle, squiggle, squiggle around the center. And I'm going to do this to all of the flowers. I'm not going to do the leaves. I'm going to leave the leaves alone this time. Most of the time I get crazy, a little crazy with my pen work because I just enjoy doing it so much. But I'm going to be better. I'm not going to do so much this time. See the difference? Okay, I'm going to show you these. Look at that one. Now look at that one. You see the difference? I am going to do these little bitty flowers right here. I forgot I did do those. And just a little circle around the center. That's all I'm going to do, just those. All right, so let's come over here. And again, I think the faster you go, the better it looks because you're not overthinking. All right, you're not overthinking. We're being a little bit wiggly. And I love that. So just squiggle, squiggle, squiggle around the centers. Takes a little bit of getting used to. The other thing I would tell you is if you're just starting to do pen work like this, hold it away from yourself when you're looking at what you've done. Don't hold it, don't like have it under a microscope. Hold it away from yourself. And then you'll be like, oh, that does look good. All right, and then these little flowers right here. And then we're going to cut this stuff out and we're going to build our box. Okay. Doesn't it look good? Yeah. I usually stickle at the end after everything's on the box. So I'm going to take my detail scissors here and just do some cutting. And while I'm cutting, I want you to notice that I'm not cutting directly on the image. I'm doing what I call bubble cutting. Okay, bubble cutting is so much easier than the actual fussy cutting, I think, because you're leaving a little bit of a highlight, a little bubble of the background around the image. Can y'all see that okay? And so my wrist doesn't really move, the paper moves. All right, so it's the paper that I'm moving. And it's going to look like that. See? Just like that. Let's do the other flower and then we'll cut out the stars. Some of the other things. So are any of you out there new to me? Is this your first time watching? I would love to know. And are you new to napkin art? If you are, I would love to invite you to check out my Napkin Club. I love creating with napkins, and our club now is 5 years old. Having so much fun because now I'm designing some of my own napkins, which is great for our projects as crafters. Napkins aren't really made for crafters. They're made to look pretty for, to set out on your table and things like that. So it's been fun to incorporate some of my own designs into the Napkin Club. That kind of are more fitting to those of us that love to craft and create with them. So I'd love for you to come and join us. My team members that are watching, feel free to share the invitation link to the Napkin Club. We actually just sent out our May bundle of napkins, and we're going to start working with them next Thursday. So you're just in time. It's called Celebrate Summer. It has a lot of, if you love patriotic, there's some really fun napkins in there that we're going to be working with. So we'd love for you to join us. We don't require any kind of cancellation fee or contract. If you decide, if you try it for a month and you decide that it's not for you, you just email us your cancellation request, or you can cancel on the website. And we just require that you do that before the last day of the month. And that way we have time to process you. Payments generally process on the 3rd and the 4th of every month. But it's so fun. It's so fun. And if any of my Napkin Club members are watching right now, post one of your favorite things about the Napkin Club. We have such a great time in there. All right, so I'm just cutting out stars, cutting out things. I don't need to cut out this Land of the Free, because remember I napkinized with that. I did the napkin art directly onto the star, but I can use that on something else. It's now a paper embellishment, so I can use that on something else. Stars are easy because it's just a nice little straight cut, but I'm still letting that white. I like having that white around the background because that way I don't have to be such a great cutter. I don't have to be great at my cutting skills. Your eye goes to the color. Also, I like that little doodly accent, and sometimes my doodles aren't right on the color, so that way they show. All right, there's that one. Just best to get these all cut. I'm going to be careful. I don't know if I'll use every single one of these stars, but I want to have them at the ready. I am going to use this bottom portion of Home of the Brave. So I'm going to cut real straight across that. So it's just going to be kind of a straight piece like this. Okay, Home of the Brave. Oh, I think I outlined Brave. I need to outline that. I forgot. Okay, so anything we don't wind up using, I will just put it in a little pile with some of my napkin scraps. And yeah, then you guys can use those to play, to practice, use them however you want. All right, almost done. Thank you guys so much for watching this free workshop today. I appreciate it. And I hope that you enjoy it. It gives you a little chance to kind of learn a little bit about my teaching style. I love to teach and share. It's one of my favorite things to do. And of course, create. Okay, I think we're almost done. There's one tiny little star here. Ooh, that's a bitty one. Yeah, if you do join today, we'll manually set you up and we'll get a bundle shipped out to you so you can start creating with us with the new bundle next week. I'd love that. Okay, I am going to go ahead, and I did outline just the word brave here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. And then we build. we build. Okay, and I also, just because we kind of randomly cut on here, I'm going to do just some fun broken lines up the sides again, kind of a doodly look. It's kind of fun. Okay. All right, guess what? It's time to build. It's time to build. You ready? Thank you for all your sweet comments. Gay, I'm using pit pins. They're called pit pins by Faber-Castell. We carry them in my shop because I love them. And they cross over into all of my crafting. I use them for everything because I just love them that much. I love them so much. Okay, so I'm going to get all my little pieces kind of here so that I can see them kind of spread out so I can see them well. Get our box here. We've got this. You're going to need this. You're going to need your glue gun. I'm going to use my glue gun for all of this. And I am going to use, so you'll see, this is what you're going to have left over. You've got quite a bit. You got quite a bit of fun to have. This is also great in case you have an oopsie. They happen, right? They happen. So if you do have an oopsie and you need to go in, you've got an extra piece, or if you need to patch something, you can do that. Okay. So you got quite a bit to play with. While my glue gun is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and make a little bow. Okay. I'm going to make a little bow to show you this. It's not hard, I promise. Just like a regular bow. I'm just going to kind of create a loop. You have 12 inches of this ribbon. So just make a regular bow, just nothing fancy. However you make bows, we're going to make a bow. Okay, about like that. Now, do you see how this tail is a little longer? I'm going to cut off a piece of this tail right here. Okay. And we're going to use this little tiny piece. We're going to use that somewhere. And then I'm going to do a flag in on the ends of the ribbon. So how I do that, I'm one of those people that, most of the time people fold their ribbon and then they cut. Well, I'm one of those people that cuts it wrong. And then I have to fold it again, and I'll be darned if I don't cut it wrong again. So I don't do that anymore because I was just wasting ribbon and my tails were getting way too short. I take my scissors and snip up the middle. Okay, I'm going to snip up the middle. You see that little slit? And then I go from the corner to the top of that slit and the other corner to the top of that slit. That's how I do them now. Okay. So again, slit up the center, however far up you want to go, corner to the top of the slit, and the other corner to the top of the slit. Works like a charm for me every time. Okay, so now we have this bow that we'll be using. We have this little piece right here. This little, I don't know, it's probably an inch or so. I'm going to do the same thing, but only on one end. I'm going to do a flag end on one end. Okay, and then I'm going to set that up here so don't lose it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my iron so that can be cooling off. And get rid of all these little pieces. Okay, we are ready to build. You guys ready? You've done that too. I swear to you. I am like, I don't know why I can't get it right, but I'll fold them. I cut it wrong. I get mad at myself. I fold it again, and I'll be darned if I don't cut it wrong again. And then, yeah, then my tails are like this big. Oh, we have fireworks. Yay, fireworks. My laptop is very excited about what we're doing right now. Okay. All right. I'm going to make the screen big again. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So first things first, we're going to put in the star. Okay, we're going to put down the star here. Do you see this little block right here? Okay, we're going to just use, I'm just using hot glue for this. If you prefer another kind of adhesive, if you want to use like your Scotch glue, something else, you're more than welcome to do that. I am using just regular old hot glue. So you can kind of see that it's somewhat in the center. Our star is going to go right on top of it. Now notice our star is not touching the ground. It's floating. It's floating in the center. Okay. So it's not touching up here. It's not touching down here. It's not touching on either side. It's floating. I'm going to put down some more hot glue. And we're going to stick it right in there. And I'm going to kind of position it, make sure. Yes, that looks perfect. So we're just floating in the center. Just give it a little press down. Okay. Yes, just give it a little press down. We're perfect. We're ready to go. Now on your flowers, which is what we're going to work with here in just a moment, I want you to see that they're a little bit different. It's almost like you have you see this one has like 1, 2, 3, 4 big green leaves. Oh, I guess they both do. They're just mirrors. Okay, can you kind of see their mirrors? And one of them is a little smaller than the other. Okay, we're going to save the larger one for up top and the smaller one for down here at the bottom. So the other thing I want us to go ahead and put in right now is this little cube. Okay, this little cube. So the side that I did not paint is going to go on the bottom, and it's going to go right in this area right here. Okay, so do you see it's not touching the wall? It's not touching the star. It's just right in between. Just right in between. Okay, you'll understand why here in a little bit. All right, we're doing okay? You guys are doing awesome. Okay. So I'm going to now take my bow here. Now I'm going to pull this bow to where it looks, we call this a sad bow. I don't know why, but when you pull the loops down like this, for whatever reason, I've always called that a sad bow. Okay. So we're going to pull the loops down and just hold them in your hand. And I apologize for the look of my fingernails. I'm due to get my nails done this week. All right. And we're going to actually attach this. I'm going to go this direction. See how the blue flower's on the top? We're going to actually put this behind this piece of paper right here. Okay. So watch closely. I'm going to put my glue kind of here. And I'm going to put this just right behind here. So I'm kind of pressing it down. Okay. So my little bow, the loops are going to come out. You're not going to see the knot. You're just seeing the loops and the tails. Looks almost like a little corsage. Okay, sad bow glued kind of to this back portion right here where the blue, these two kind of bluish flowers are, all this, the blue side, 1, 2, 3, those 3 blue flowers. Okay, now this is going to get attached right here to our star, but because this is 3D, we want this whole shadow box to be 3D. We're going to be using some foam tape. So I have some foam tape here, and you're going to hear me say a few different things as I'm using the foam tape. Okay, you're going to hear me say single pop, double pop, triple pop. Okay, single pop, double pop, triple pop. That just means on this particular one, I'm going to do a single pop. That means I'm using single pieces of our double-sided foam tape. Okay, it's sticky on both sides. It has a little film on it that will take off. Now, I'm going to also put a line of hot glue on here because I don't trust that sticky over time. I'm going to put some hot glue. And then I'm going to position this onto the star. Ooh, I pressed down too hard. And don't press down too hard. I'll just glue it back in place. It scared me when it did that. Okay, so you can see we have a single pop underneath this, and then I like to come in and kind of curl the leaves. Just kind of curl the leaves up again. It's going to add to kind of our 3D look. Okay. Yay, we got that one. We got that one done. All right, so Home of the Brave. Remember this little guy right here? All right, we're going to glue this like this. Okay, we're going to glue it just like that. So I put a little bit line of glue right here and attach this. So it's going to be going right up kind of above the Home of the Brave. Okay. Now this piece, and by the way, I'm using hot glue, so I'm going to have little hot glue hairs everywhere, but don't worry about that because I'll zap those with my heat gun when I'm done and they'll just disappear. So I have hot glue on top of that block, right? And then I'm going to put this down. Now this is going right against the edge, the bottom edge and the side edge, and just press that down just where it's on top of the block. Okay, so it's going to also be somewhat raised. That's why we painted it blue, so it would just kind of disappear in there. See, just that part right there. All right. Yes, if you want a kit, get your order in. Yes, get your order in. That would be great. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is the other flower cluster. All right. This one, my friends, is going to be a double pop. What's a double pop mean? I'll show you. So it's going to go kind of like right here, and that will help to know where to put the foam tape. Double pop means we're going to do 2 layers of the foam tape. Yes, you guys got it. So double pop, just sticking them right on top of each other. Make sure and remove the film or they will not stick to each other. Oops, I need another glue stick. Oh my God, another glue stick. The glue gun I'm using is a Sure Bonder, and it has a precision tip, which I love. I will never go back to another glue gun again. I love this precision tip. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of angle this to where one of the leaves is kind of going over the flower, and then the corner of Home is going on top of the flowers. Okay. And again, I'm going to kind of curl up the leaves because that's going to add to the 3D kind of look. Okay, so let me show that up to you up close. Do you see how this leaves on top? This leaves on top, but this corner is on top of that white flower. Can everybody see that okay? All right. Now we're going to do the stars. Yay. Okay, well, let's start up here in this corner. Okay, let's start up here in this corner right here. And I'll just show you kind of what's happening here. We're going to come in and add in all the stars in this kind of corner area, and then some down in this corner area. And then we add stickles. So you guys are doing great. We're doing good. Doing good, good, good. Okay, so I'm going to take this little star right here and do a single pop. You'll have to cut your foam tape down a little smaller for some of these stars. That's why I like the foam tape though, because I like that I can just cut it to the size that I need it to be. And I don't really care what stars you use where. I will let you guys determine that. I'm going to go ahead and put these in like I did my other one. So I'm going to pop that in with a single pop. And then this one is going to be a double pop. Okay, double pop. You're loving it, Heather? Yay, I'm so glad. Oops, grab that tiny star. It is so pretty. You guys are going to love it, especially once it's all sparkled up. It might be, I mean, I know I say this every time I do a shadow box, but this might be one of my favorites because I just really love red, white, and blue projects. I love them. All right, it's a little hot glue. And I'm going to put this one in over here, but at an angle. You see that? You can pull it down a little bit. The stars don't all have to be straight. And on this particular star, I'm gonna double it. I'm gonna put this blue star in the center of it, and it's gonna be just a single pop. Let's see if I might have made that too big. Oh, I think it's okay. So this will be a single pop. Then I'm gonna put this blue star right in the center of this star so that it's dimensional. So it's a stacked star, essentially. Okay, so we have a little stacked star right there. Okay, now let's move down over here for a minute. Let's go down here for a second. I'm going to go with this one. Since we have a star kind of like this up here, I figured we should have one down here. It'll also be a single pop. So I'm going to stick it right there. That's a good spot. Right there. Do you see how that little white line is just kind of blending in on the background? It's blending in just fine. All right, so here's my Stars and Stripes star. And this one, it's really kind of up to me. Oh, I usually put this one up here. Maybe I need to put this down lower. Okay, I'm going to peel this up very carefully. Oh, I got it. Okay. All right, I peeled that one up very carefully, and I'm going to stick it down low. I forgot we got more stacked stars up here. Okay, I'm going to put this one down low because I really want to put this one here and this one here. Okay, so this one is going to be a single pop. And I'm going to cut my, oh, I shouldn't have cut it with that pair of scissors, but oh well. I'm going to cut this, so it's this part right here that's going to be touching the most. I'm going to cut a little, I cut a little slanted piece right there. And I need to cut a little slanted piece right here, almost like a triangle. Because that's mainly where it's going to be touching. See how I cut those? Just like a triangle, real sharp triangle. Okay, so to help you position this little tip right here is kind of going over free. That little tip is just going over free, just a little bit there. So really we're just gluing right there onto the wooden star, the shiplap star. And then this one's going to be a little interesting because it's going to go on top like this. So we need to do this one and this one in that sharp point. Okay, and I always have to go back and look. Okay, this one. this one. Okay. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay. I think I did it right. Okay, so there we go. So it's those two that we're pressing down. Just a single. Both of these are just singles. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. All right, let's see what we have left. Right now, I have these two little stars left. Okay, so where do I want to put them? I could put one right here. I could put another one right there. I kind of like having all the stars kind of like this. You see what's happening? So our flowers kind of went this way. We have ribbon, flower, flower, home of the brave with the ribbon. And then our stars are all kind of cascading like this, right? Kind of this area. Okay, I like that. Let's do those there. So this one will be a single pop. We didn't have a lot of like triple and quadruple pops with this one. We have in the past, but not with this one. Okay, so I think I'm gonna put that one there. And again, you put them wherever you want. And then we have one little tiny star. This is too little to really pop. So I'm just gonna put a little blob, little dot of hot glue and just lay it into the hot glue. The hot glue will kind of make it feel a little bit raised. All right, guess what? We have done it. We are done with building. Isn't it cute? I know, we're done with the building part. So all we have left now to do is the stickling, which is really fun. So I used diamond on mine, but you could use, there are three that I really like. I like diamond, unicorn, and crystal. Those are my three favorite clears, and it's usually clear is all I ever use. But if stickles do have a little tiny precision tip right here. So on my flowers, I just did the centers. And I just kind of squiggle around. I just did the centers on the flowers. You could do more if you want. Let's see, what else did I do? I did all the stars. So if you don't like using the tip, you can always squeeze a little bit of this out and just use a paintbrush. So whether it was napkinized on or not, every star gets sparkle. Even these little teeny tiny ones, I just put like a little dot on them, okay? I also went in and did the letters. I'll just do a little bit of this and I'll show it to you on the sample that's already dry. But this precision tip is great. It's just like you're writing. So just kind of color in. I mean, even the little bitty, littlest bittiest stars can get a little dot of sparkle. Or just use a fine paintbrush, fine tip paintbrush. I'm even going to do the of and the. I just think everything should sparkle. Isn't that pretty? This will take a few minutes to dry. Yeah, it'll take a few minutes to dry, but just want you to see that. Down here, I only sparkled the word brave because I wanted it to stand out. But feel free to sparkle all of it if you want. You can't go wrong with this one. Like you really, it can't have enough sparkle. So again, just kind of coloring in the sparkle. And even these back here, if it's hard to reach the ones that are deep, into the shadow box. Here, I'll show you. You can just kind of squiggle some on and literally just take a paintbrush and kind of pounce it. You don't really paint it, you pounce it. Okay. Okay, so I think you get the gist of it, right? Everything, however much of this that you want to sparkle can sparkle. Now, don't forget at the end, I did put a coat of Mod Podge on top of the rest of my shadow box, the entire shadow box. Got it? I also did the back. I painted the back side too. So, and did the same kind of technique, sanding, all the things. This is the one that's completely dry now. So you see, you get a nice little finish. You get a really nice sheen to it. I think it looks really good. So I would definitely seal those. We already did the inside part on that one. So I just have to go around the edges. And then I'm just going to show you again, sparkle on the flowers. I did the centers, but you could do as much as you want. Sparkle on any of the stars. Land of the free. And home of the brave. Isn't it gorgeous? Yes, I think it's so pretty. And they stand here. I'll put this one here. They stand on their own. So they look really good. I still need to paint the back of this one, but they stand on their own. They're so nice. This could make a great gift for someone or just look really good to have out with your summer decor. And just, you know, again, I like little visual reminders, you know, little visual reminders to just be thankful that I do live in the land of the free, that I do have very brave people fighting for me, right? Like it's just a way to kind of show honor and pride in our country and the people that serve our country. So I hope that you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this free workshop. I really enjoyed teaching you, and I cannot wait to hopefully teach you more in the future. I'd love for you to follow my page here on Facebook at Miss Tracy Creates. Follow me over or subscribe on my YouTube channel, which is also Miss Tracy Creates. And yeah, I hope you get a kit